Okay, so I just saw the movie Venom, and in my heart, I'm just wondering why it didn't serve that good Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters era tea that really could have just saved this movie. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, and spoilers going in, Venom is not as bad as everyone thought it was gonna be, mostly because they took all the stuff that would have been edgy TM out because they were trying to market it to the PG-13 demographic. Like you can tell in some places like this was supposed to be a rated R film, especially like with the way that the violence is portrayed. Like I think there's one scene close to the beginning where like the main bad guy, Riot, yeah, Riot was his name. That's like the mean evil symbiote. Cause like Venom's the good symbiote. Like he's with our main character, so it's cool. But like Riot's the bad symbiote. So it's like he stabs a bunch of people in the head, and it's like really gruesome, but you don't really see the like blood, and it's just a really quick cut, and you can kind of tell like in certain places where it's like cut, like we cut away from all like the gore and stuff. And that's fine. Like I didn't really need Venom to be a rated R film, but it does really seem like the way they marketed it in the trailers is that this was going to be a darker film, and it's a lot of people have been like saying Venom's a rom-com, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. Venom's a rom-com. It's a romantic comedy. Another thing too is that like Venom is much more like I'm very surprised that people thought Venom was going to fail. When you look at it, like when you watch the story, it's very similar to like the MCU formula where you have like this, kind of immature white man who gains power or like has like is given a certain like special something, like how Iron Man creates the Iron Man suit. I mean, how Tony Stark creates the Iron Man suit. Doctor Strange gets like the Doctor Strange powers. Ant-Man gets the Ant-Man suit, that kind of thing. Eddie Brock gets the symbiote, and he gives him like cool powers and shit. Like one of the things that I think it's like kind of interesting is that, again, this isn't that much different from an MCU movie, down to the point where like the villain is kind of just eh. Like Riz Ahmed, I think like that's the guy who plays the villain in this movie. Like he doesn't have a threatening enough presence to be like a villain. I don't know if it's because he wasn't given the proper direction. Like I haven't seen him in a lot of things, but I know like he's a good actor and a lot of people like him. But he's just not very threatening in this. Like he has a soft boy presence. Like he has such soft features and doughy eyes, and like he looks more like he just looks like a romantic kind of guy than like a bad guy, and his voice is too soft for like him to become threatening. Like he never sounds like a threat. Like his voice is too sweet sounding. He sounds like his voice reminds me a little bit of Michael Cera in Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. Like his voice is just too nice to like sell me on him being a villain. And I thought that was kind of a problem because they were like scenes where Riz Ahmed is supposed to be threatening, and I'm just like, he's too cute. And I mean like cute in like he just seems too nice. He's not selling me on this, even though he's supposed to be threatening in this scene. He's too nice sounding. I feel like maybe they should have switched Riz Ahmed and like, Tom Hardy as the bad guy, because Tom Hardy can be a very threatening dude. Riz Ahmed seems like a very romantic kind of dude. He has a very romantic, sort of look to him, like very, very soft, very gentle, very leaf. Like he looks good. He's a very handsome man, but he doesn't look like mean. Riz Ahmed doesn't look mean in this movie. I don't know if it was maybe like the camera angles they shot him at, or maybe they just didn't have harsh enough shadows on his face, or maybe like the makeup made him look too cute. But like whatever they were trying to do, it just did not work for me. Also, what else is there? Oh yeah. Okay, so when I said that Venom should have been like serving that Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters era tea. Alright, so there's like a scale of possession. Like you have anywhere from like The Exorcist to like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, because like in The Exorcist it's like no consent, it's super bad that they're being possessed. While in Yu-Gi-Oh, like Yugi and the pharaoh who's possessing him, like they're buddies, which is kind of like Venom and like Eddie Brock in this movie. They're supposed to be like buddies, but like in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's I always thought it was interesting because it's like in reverse. Yugi and Yami assume, like especially in the early Duel Monsters series, if you don't watch season 0, that they're the same person. Like especially if you watch the dub, like they think they're the same person, so it's like yeah, like Yugi doesn't realize he's transforming into Yami Yugi, and it's just very like interesting. So that when he like becomes Yami Yugi, they think that they're like the same person, and then later on they discover they're not the same person, but they still decide to help each other because like Yugi thinks the pharaoh like they're friends, and like the pharaoh's helped him, so they're like, oh, we want to help you get back to the past, so they like because you're my buddy. And like in Venom, it's sort of the same thing. Like Venom and Eddie Brock are kind of friends, and like he's like instead like Eddie and Venom are two different like entities. Like I mean, Eddie and the symbiote are like two different entities who like become one person. So it's like again, it's the reverse of Yu-Gi-Oh. But like I never really got why Venom wanted to help Eddie Brock. Cause like I get why Eddie wants like I get why Eddie likes Venom now, but I don't get why like Venom likes Eddie. Cause like the symbiote suit saves him from like these dudes who are chasing like Riz Ahmed's henchmen who are chasing down Tom Hardy. Like the symbiote suit saves him, and it's like and like fixes his broken bone. So it's like you understand why Eddie likes would be like more I'm okay with this towards the symbiote suit, even though before it seemed like he was being possessed. Like the first chunk of this movie where like you're finding out about Venom, you're like, oh shit, Tom Hardy is playing this off like he's being possessed by this thing. And it's like kind of cool because it's like mixing up the because it's like mixing up genres, and I'm gonna talk more about that towards the end, I guess towards the end of like this video, about mixing up genres with Venom. But like you never have that scene where the symbiote suit becomes endeared to Eddie. Like, you know how in the original Beauty and the Beast, the 1991 version that Disney released, Belle doesn't like the Beast at first, and the Beast is like angry at them, and they're both kind of like toward each other, and they don't really want to like see each other because Belle's like, I just got captured by this dude and he's like not letting me go, and he's like a dick, he was gonna imprison my dad, so I don't like him. And the Beast is like, she won't eat with me, so she doesn't get to eat at all, and like she can stay in her room all she wants because she doesn't want to see me, that sort of thing. And then like when Belle escapes, she gets attacked by wolves, and then like the Beast like fights through the wolves, and like Belle returns to the castle, and she like fixes him up a little, like she's like fixing him up a little bit, and she's like, thank you for saving me. And then like they have that moment where the Beast is like, well, I wouldn't have had to save you if you didn't leave the castle. And then Belle's like, well, I wouldn't have had to leave if you didn't have such a bitchy ass temper. And then after that they have a heart to heart and they start to get along. There is no scene like that in Venom, and the movie really suffers because it feels like there was supposed to be a scene like that where like they learn about each other and they start to care about each other and grow with each other as people, but then it never like happens. And that's a real big problem. Because like imagine that scene in Beauty and the Beast, like the scene of Belle being attacked by wolves being cut, but then you play the movie out the same way. Like you smash cut from like Belle not wanting to eat with the Beast to Belle like dancing and like hanging out with the Beast. Like you would be so confused, and that's what this movie feels like. Honestly, it feels like you cut that middle part. Because at first Venom's just like, I own you, you're a loser, Eddie. But then like on a dime, and like Venom is like, oh, I guess we're buddies now, I like you, Eddie, because I'm a loser on my planet. And I'm like, where did this come from? You're supposed to be an alien invading like the planet Earth and draining it of all its resources. Like there was like, I don't understand why this is the way that it is, or who signed off on it. But like it really sucks because again, that scene with Belle and the wolves is like what, maybe 2 minutes. So like you could have had something, I don't know, maybe like 3 5 minutes in like three an extra 3 to 5 minutes, extra in the movie where it reveals like the little heart, like why Venom and Eddie have a heart to heart, because like it doesn't, because to me it doesn't matter whether or not like the villain or well, it does matter if like there are cool visuals in the movie if it's a superhero movie, but like it doesn't matter if the villain is like kind of shitty if you have a good grasp on the hero, because like I feel like the reason the MCU movies tend to work so much is because like you get such a strong grasp on the heroes to the point that like you like their character and you like their dynamic, that you can kind of like excuse everything else. So I would definitely be willing to excuse this movie for a lot of its like weird stuff going on if they gave me a solid dynamic between Venom and Eddie, because I like that dynamic, but I also think, it's just not working out. It's just not working out in this film very well. But also, like, I also realized why they didn't have the, the Belle saving the wolves scene for Venom. Because the original Belle saving the wolves is them hating Peter Parker. Like, Venom is obviously, like, derived from, Eddie Brock in the symbiote suit hating Peter Parker and becoming, like, attached to each other because of that. And then, like, their friendship starts to grow from there. Like, it goes from, we hate Peter Parker to, you know what, I like that guy, Eddie Brock. And like, Eddie Brock being like, you know what, the symbiote suit is okay. Like, and after that, they grow as, like, people together. I mean, well, as beings together. It just kind of sucks that we don't really get to see that kind of thing play out. Also, like, I don't know, I think it's, like, a little upsetting that we didn't get to see this, like, I know I'm saying like a lot, but I just remembered what I was thinking, which is that Venom is one of the interesting kind of comic book movies to me, because like it's trying to be a rom-com and not a lot of comic book movies want to be that, you know what I mean? They're more focused on action. Like, if you view Venom in the lens that this is supposed to be a rom-com, it fits surprisingly well, and I feel like that's kind of cool. And again, I mentioned the possession elements earlier. What I'm trying to say is that, like, it's sad. It makes me sad that, like, Venom doesn't really work that well as a movie. Like, it's, like, I wouldn't recommend seeing it in the theaters. Like, when it's on Netflix in, like, the next year, maybe view it on Netflix, but I wouldn't recommend anybody to go see it. I wouldn't, like, tell anybody to spend, like, $11 or $14 or how much ever money a ticket costs where you are to go see Venom. But, like, one of the reasons that I did kind of enjoy it was because it was a mishmashing of genres. A lot of times I feel like comic book movies tend to have a very specific, like, thing they do. Like, a very specific, like, comic book movie is almost its own genre unto itself. But I really liked how in Venom they did kind of almost explore, rom-com-y acts, like a rom-com aspect and like a horror movie aspect where, like, in the beginning it seems like Eddie Brock is being possessed by this symbiote thing. But it's not super well executed, and for the reasons I just stated, they cut out the crucial part in like a buddy cop film. Everybody keeps saying it's a buddy cop film, and I totally get that. Like, they cut out the parts where the characters bond. And had it, like, kept the character bonding parts, this would have definitely worked well. Like, this wouldn't have been a great movie, but it would have been a solid movie. And I guess they're gonna have a second chance to do this movie again, because, like, this is the highest grossing release film of, like, October ever. Like, 80 million opening weekend, I think is what it is. So, like, there's a good chance that this movie is going to get a sequel, and most likely they're going to have a chance to, maybe work out the kinks and, like, actually, give a lot of, I don't know, maybe, like, just work out the stuff that didn't work in the original Venom. Like, give Venom and Eddie Brock, like, more interesting chances to bond with each other and, like, work out their genuine friendship, because, like, at the heart of Venom, the symbiote and Eddie have to, like, work as a unit. And that's what makes their dynamic interesting. How, like, this alien and this human, like, learn to get along and exist as this, like, third being that is both of them combined. Which I think is really interesting. Also, yeah, it's basically like Garnet not only is it Yami and Yugi, it's basically Garnet from like Steven Universe, where like how Ruby and Sapphire have to work to like, you know, stay as this one entity. Venom also has to like work as Eddie and the symbiote mixed together. So that's my thoughts on Venom. It was okay, could have been a lot better. But like the thing that is just shocking me is that like it wouldn't have taken much to make it better. Like they really do just need like those like maybe extra 10 minutes of character bonding, like maybe 10 to 7 minutes of character bonding added in the film, and it just works a lot better because then you're emotionally attached to the characters. Also, the ending makes no sense, and I'm pretty sure it's a result of like 40 minutes of this movie being cut. So just wait to see this movie when it's on a streaming site if you're still interested in it. The monster fucking is not as prevalent as you think it would be, but hey, what are you gonna do? It's a mainstream film. I'm not personally interested in that kind of thing, but like I know people are going to see Venom for that, but if you are, you're gonna be a little disappointed. Anyway, have fun, live life, see a film. Just go see a film.